How we doing, folks? My guest today is going to be an absolute legend in the sport of freestyle mogul skiing, Lasse Fahlen. Lasse has had a remarkable career as an athlete and an even more legendary one as a coach. And in this episode today, we go through and talk about both of those aspects of his career. As an athlete, Lasse had 7 World Cup podiums, 1 World Cup win, finished top 3 in the world twice, and finished 6th at the 1988 Olympics in Calgary when moguls was a demonstration event. Lasse then turned his attention to coaching and has coached every single Olympics that moguls has been a full participant in. Lasse has been the head coach for Sweden twice, was the head coach for Norway, and an assistant coach for the U.S. ski team. During Lasse's remarkable coaching career, he's coached Olympic champions Kari Tra and Walter Wahlberg, Olympic medalist Brian Wilson, and was a part of the teams that produced Olympic gold medalist Hannah Kearney, Olympic medalist Shannon Barkey, and essentially his athletes over the years have accomplished everything that you can in the sport of freestyle mogul skiing. It was a lot of fun to be able to have this conversation with Lasse. I learned a ton, not only during his coaching career, but also insights about when Lasse was an athlete. I really hope you folks enjoy this episode. Thanks. Lasse, the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you so much for taking the time out of the schedule to come in and talk. I'm really excited to get to know a little bit more about your history and your passion for mogul skiing and everything else. It's really, really exciting for me to have you on. I mean, you were one of my first coaches, for those out there that don't know, Freestyle International, 1998. I got some pictures in the garage. Lasse Fahlen and Kari Tra was there as well, fresh off her bronze medal in 98 at Nagano. And you had already been in the sport for several years. You'd already had a few Olympics under your belt and everything else. And, it's crazy to see the path and journey that I've been on, but influenced by you. My dad always blames Peter. I'm sure you're thrown in there too. Darcy, all those guys for sending me down this road. I mean, I think I was Thor. You called me, that was my nickname. I had that little horned helmet and you called me Thor the Thunder God.
Yeah, it's a good old Nordic names. I probably did, yes. It's a good one.
Yeah, but so yeah, thanks so much for coming on. This is going to be a lot of fun, and it was really interesting for me when I came in and did a lot of the research for this. Just how much, I mean, I knew how influential you've been in the sport, but I mean, you've been to every single Olympic Games. You competed in the exhibition event in 1988, and I think one of the things that would be really cool for the freestyle community to kind of hear and understand a little bit more is kind of just how you got into the sport and then kind of your own competitive career before we get into coaching.
Yep, sounds good.
So let's start. How did you find your way into moguls and freestyle?
It's kind of, I used to do alpine skiing,
Mm-hmm.
and then I kind of started freezing a little bit. My daddy was a ski instructor, part-time ski instructor, and every Christmas, New Year's, he put on an exhibition in the local school here, showed the latest from the ski world and so on. And he also showed some movies, and that's how I got introduced to moguls or freestyle skiing. I saw like the Winter Heat, K2 Winter Heat, and Wayne Wong and everything.
Yeah.
That's how I got started. And I started doing things, trying to do 360s. I probably did 180s for a year or so. I wasn't very good. Then bit by bit started skiing, and I skied with some friends, ski moguls in the local hills here, and they said, "Oh, maybe you should compete." So I tried it out and did pretty good, and I thought, "Oh, this is really good." I skied alpine for so long, but I never got good, and all of a sudden I did something in skiing where I was good, actually, in the results. Maybe I wasn't very good. I guess the other ones was not very good, so that's probably why I did good in the beginning. So that started like, it's almost 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So I would say K2 and Wayne Wong. So that's, I have to say, go back to Wayne Wong. It's pretty interesting that he showed up in Waterville. And he stayed in the same hotel as me. I had to tell him that the reason I started was watching him and his friends ski moguls in the mid 70s. So that's how I got started into this.
That's crazy. Like full circle. You get to the birthplace of freestyle in Waterville for the World Cup. Get to meet Wayne Wong. Yeah, very cool. That's awesome.
Pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I did my first World Cup in US also.
Oh, that was your first World Cup?
No, I did one. I'll take a little step here. Like my first year in the World Cup, we had a team nomination. We got a bunch of crazy skiers going down to a glacier in Tin. And we
Mhm.
had 1 week of just skiing, and they picked out like 4 mogul skiers that went to US. My first World Cup was in Snoqualmie, Washington State.
Wow, Snoqualmie.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. Back then, I wasn't very good in school. That's why I started skiing. So I didn't even understand English back then. So I learned my English from traveling. So it was really hard the first year. I could say yes and no, maybe. But that's Snoqualmie was my first. So that was a good start for my World Cup.
Very cool. Now, were you doing all the disciplines, or did you do just were you kind of mogul specific back then, or did you do ballet and aerials?
I tried to do some aerials.
Yeah.
I did some front flips, but for 1 year, it was more like sometimes when we showed up in a mogul course here in Sweden, there was no moguls. I went in the jumped instead. If the jump was good, I did some front flips, but that was for 1 year. Other than that, always moguls.
Gotcha. Very cool. And so you finished, 7 podiums, one World Cup win. You finished top three in the world, I think twice, at least what I saw.
Yeah,
I don't, which is pretty remarkable. And I think for a lot of people out there, they just know, Lasse is as the coach that's been around forever, but you had quite the career in your own right. And when
yeah.
did you decide to make that transition to coaching?
I really didn't make that decision. They didn't name me to the team and pushed me into coaching. I think they took me out of the team to get me as a coach. I wasn't very happy that year, and that's my last year. I was waiting to have a World Cup here in Åre, where I grew up.
Hmm.
I was so bad. I didn't make the finals, and after that competition, I just quit. I didn't do the last competitions, and then they hired me for a coach next year. So, but they started with that earlier that season. They didn't let me to go to US, which to me was pretty hard because I was ninth in the world the year before.
Oh,
But they
wow.
thought, you're not getting better. You better put you on the coaching list instead. So I think they kind of pushed me out to get me as a coach. So yeah, that would say so. That's was the best option for me. I love
That's
the sport, and gave me a reason to stay in the sport. So that was good.
mhm. Now, what was that? So, just what was Calgary as that exhibition event kind of like for you? I mean, you kind of knew that, all right, potentially this could be an Olympic sport. I mean, when you first get into it, it's just freestyle. It's the redheaded stepchild in skiing, right, compared to alpine and everything else. And now it's kind of starts to get a little bit legitimized at in '88 with the exhibition.
No, that's pretty interesting actually. Like I kind of strange competition because it was really hard to ski. For some reason, I think they tried to make some snow, but something went wrong, so they poured down water on the course. There was solid ice there, so
Really?
yeah, it's like not very good. So like it was, I was expecting something else, but really cool to be there. And I stayed with the Swedish Olympic team, not with the team, but next to them. But they took with me to everything, hockey games, to opening ceremonies. I said, this is so much bigger that I've seen before. So I really hoping for it to get into the Olympics. And I also remember going watching one of my teammates doing aerials.
Hmm.
And I think what happened, either Nordic jumping or bobsled got delayed. So everything was the same day. And I think might be wrong, but I think it was more than 20,000 spectators for aerials.
Oh,
And like
wow.
this is really the future for our sport.
Hmm.
Took a little longer for aerials to get in, but next step, like we went to France, there was 20,000 spectators up in Tin. And then when we skied in Albertville, we skied in Tin. So that was exciting to see being there from the beginning,
Yeah.
letting the world see the sport, and I was part of the games. So I said,
Very cool. Yeah. So, kind of speaking to that, you go to team and you make that transition to coaching. Now, how long did you stick with Sweden before? I know you made that transition, obviously, to Norway and coaching Kari and Vineyard, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But how long till that transition kind of happened?
I stayed 5 years.
5 years.
So I kind of regret it. This is one thing I regret I didn't do. I should have gone to US and ski pro. I regret that big time. I went a little bit early to the coaching, but after this, I should have gone skiing pro for a couple of years.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And I had a pretty crazy nickname that would have worked in US too. Because the first time I had an interview when I did good,
Hmm.
they asked me what my nickname was. And I didn't speak English really good. So I remember, I think it was Cooper Shell of the US team said, my nickname is I was the lumberjack. And all through my competition over in US, I was the lumberjack.
The
I think
lumberjack.
that would have been a good name for the pro circuit.
Lasse, the lumberjack Fallon. I think
Yeah,
so.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, they knew me there like that. So that's no, I regret that, but that was good to be in coaching. But going from being a teammate to a coach,
Hmm.
as
Yeah.
being a police to become a thief. It works for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a couple of months, but then you realize the rest of the team doesn't want to train the way you train or think you want to train. So it was some hard years, which I learned a lot from. It was good training for next when going to Norway and so on. I stayed in Sweden for 5 years. I did 2 Olympics with the Swedish team. We did
Okay.
pretty good. We had best results in 10 it was six,
Hmm.
and in Lillehammer it was fifth. It was still decent results.
Hmm. And then what was the kind of the reasoning behind going to transition to Norway?
Pure luck, I would say. So it's like I I have some friends that had some business in Japan, and he was working with one of the Swedish companies, and they were sponsoring an event in Japan. So I went there to coach.
Okay.
This is in '96, midwinter '96. I made some money,
Hmm.
so I went down to what's it called, Kirchberg, just outside Kitzbühel. Anyway, and just watch. Or actually, the Norwegian asked me if I could help them that competition.
Okay.
And they were looking for a coach and asked me about some coaches. And I gave them some names. And in the end, they asked me if I could come. So that was it. If I hadn't been in Japan and gone to that competition, I don't think I would have been with the Norwegian team. So it was kind of luck that they asked me to help them out in that competition.
Interesting. And then when did you was Kari already competing at that point in time?
Yeah, I think
She just kind of
she
started.
was injured a lot.
Okay.
She missed her home event in Lillehammer and so on.
Uh-huh.
She had some fun. I think she had a third place before it.
Okay. Gotcha.
But she said no, she didn't want me. She has heard bad things about me. She said no to me as a coach, which turned out pretty good for being a bad one. So we had some good years of that. She wasn't sure about having me there. So that's part of the story.
That's pretty good. So it took a little convincing, and you eventually won her, turned her around, huh?
Yeah, it didn't take that long. I don't remember everything, but I think she got second in the first World Cup. She had me as a coach in
That's
that's yeah season '96, '97.
96. Yeah, that's. I mean, has went on to obviously dominate the sport, and for a long period of time there. I mean, what was that kind of what were some I guess the difficulties during that time frame as a coach, and what were some of like the high points? I mean, obviously everybody, always sees all the successes and all that stuff, obviously the wins and the titles and all that, but I know behind the scenes as a coach, there's a lot of, hard work and a lot of stuff behind the scenes that maybe people don't get to see.
Who say was just a raw talent, super strong. I
Hmm.
would say her biggest talent in a way was she was born very strong. Could
Hmm.
do ski tougher and harder than most of the women.
Hmm.
But of course, being that raw talent, you don't really have in the beginning.
Hmm.
But you have to teach them just some easy steps to being in small words, make some big results and so on. So I didn't do too much the first year more than making sure she just changed her position in skiing and so on. And from
Sure.
there on, it happened pretty quick. The thing, her strength was she could ski fast and she was strong. She was going big. She
Yeah.
was also doing the biggest crashes of everybody. So it wasn't just good, good, good. But she wasn't afraid. Was her biggest strength was that she was not afraid
Hmm.
to fail. She was really, really good to push it herself. That was her biggest strength. Unbelievable. She was just skiing with some of the men almost sometimes. Like,
Hmm. No, I remember. I mean, I remember especially like growing up, she was the only girl that was doing triples for like a long period, for at least a couple seasons. It felt like that she was the only girl that was doing triples while everyone else, those other girls were obviously doubles and everything else. I mean, she was skiing fast, and as you said, like she definitely had that fearlessness for sure,
Yeah,
aggressive and
she's doing everything like that. She's skydiving. I think she even base jump, and yeah, she's done a lot of things. That's crazy. Like the biggest thing, biggest worries I had from her when she called me in the summer. You never knew what happened because something crazy happened. Because she really loved to like have some fear,
mhm.
work on the fear and so on. Now, amazing personality. It's
Yeah.
like as a coach, you're lucky to get an athlete like her.
Mm, very cool. Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I think part of that fearlessness also speaks like after, life after skiing. I mean, you look at the clothing company, Kari Tra. I mean, that is
Mm.
absolutely. I think it takes a certain level of fearlessness to kind of go in and create that monster that it is now. Now, so one of those things I've always kind of been just a little bit curious about was that I mean Norway obviously such a dominant ski tradition, but then you had Kari and who obviously dominated the sport for several years, and now really after Vinjar and Hedvig, like there's not too much. I mean, Norway doesn't even really have much of a freestyle program anymore. Is that just because they're so entrenched in cross country and kind of those sports where they do so well in biathlon?
No, that's part of it, but you need some people to coach them. You need to like a club that's
Hmm.
interested in doing this. And I think and that's why you need to start all over again to get the federation work on it and so on. It was pretty tough here in Sweden too,
Hmm.
around 99, 2000. We didn't have many skiers here in Sweden. I
Yeah.
didn't work in Sweden then, but I could see it. And then it's bit by bit, it's been getting bigger here. But it's
Hmm.
been taking a while, it's been like 20 years. So it's not something you can do overnight. I know in Voss, where
Hmm.
most of the skiers in Norway come from, where Kari comes from, are working with some kids. Hopefully they get back. We need all the countries.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's good to hear that hopefully it'll be coming back for sure. Now, just speaking a little bit towards the end of the journey, I mean, obviously Kari, she's got the entire plethora of medals that you can get at the games, right? Gold, silver, and bronze. I mean, what were those discussions like when she, was kind of thinking about being done and kind of moving on to the next chapter?
Not much, so to say. I knew she was going to quit, and she
Ah,
had a comp. They just started a company just 4 years earlier, but
okay,
she wasn't too involved in it before she left.
okay,
And she actually skied the worlds in 2007 too.
okay.
But the only reason is that she wanted the Norwegian TV to show it. So she went up there so the TV showed it when she's around. So the other asses got into TV. That's the cool with her. She's all over the place, like
Hmm.
she's been with the Dancing with the Stars and everything in Norway. She's a big personality in Norway, still is so many
Hmm.
years later. But at the time well, she just naturally she quit. When you do so much good,
Hmm.
and then I can see she was done. She's been around for long, and she ended with a silver medal, and I think that was she had it, and it's a good ending of some good years.
Absolutely, no, very, very special career. And
Yeah,
then after that, I mean, you continued to have success. I mean, I remember Vinyar here at Deer Valley. He had one when he finished second, and I remember that middle section was like insane. At
yeah.
what I can't remember what year was that, but that was just awesome to watch. Some of
He
that.
had he had some good years, but
Mhm.
before I went coaching Vineyard, I was in US
Right, you made the transition there, and with
from
Brian
Norway.
and Shannon and Hannah and that whole show and DeGravio, and that's
The
quite the.
Wilsons.
Yeah. Now, why did you decide to make the move kind of to the U.S. at that point after Norway?
I really don't know. Like I didn't expect to get a call from US asking if I can coach them. So first, like when I was done with Norway, I took like 6 months off.
Hmm.
And when somebody told me I was too old to learn to surf, so I took 6 months off and surfed wave surfing. I went to Hawaii for a little bit, and then I went to Portugal. That's the best thing somebody can say to me that you can't do it. And I decided to learn. I never got good, but good enough to surf. And then I don't remember, I think Scott Rawls called me, asked me if I would like to try, or I try, if I could come over and work with the US team. And the thing is, like, I don't know if I should say this or not, but in the past I said it's one team I would never coach with, the US team. That's what I said when I heard something. I said it's just too big, it's too much going on, and so on. It's really, really hard. But I thought it was really hard. Then I got the question, and I felt, why not? It's like I really want to do something new.
Yeah.
I want to learn something more and go into a big country with so many good skiers. I wasn't sure how much I could do with them, how much I can help them, but to get that possibility to go there and coach probably at the time the best team in the world
Hmm.
was exciting. I wanted to do something new. I was kind of nervous before I answered yes. I was
Yeah.
down in Zermatt and Scott Ross told me, you have to tell me tomorrow morning. So kind of sweating what to do or whatever. But
Hmm.
I'm really, really happy I did that decision. It was such a great team to work with.
Hmm.
And it's totally different, but different in a good way. I learned a lot to work with that team. It was a big team like that, different setup from the ski federation. So no, that was a really, really good years.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's one of the things that kind of drives you is that wanting to learn and understand something new and kind of pushing yourself in that area. I mean, you talk about with the surfing, right? If somebody tells you you can't do something, it sounds like that's the perfect thing to get you nice and motivated.
And it's kind of easy for me because there are a lot of things I can't do. So it's easy for me to learn something. I always say something, if you're gonna feel you do something better, choose a sport or something else that you're not very good in. Then it's easier to get better at least. Not good, but you get better. I like that feeling. Like now I don't know what to do now. Like it's like I have to find something else that I'm bad with. So no, I always tell it to my athletes too. If you feel bad, you just go do something, you can feel better every day. I think that you don't need to be best, but if you do a little bit better, and if you start on a very low level,
Mhm.
it's easier to get better. And that's such a good feeling. It's the feeling you want to have, feeling that you start controlling something that you don't know so much about. That's kind of same feeling I kind of had going to the US ski team.
Mhm. Now, going in and obviously that undertaking, as you talked about, some of the things you were a little bit nervous about and everything else. What was that experience like now looking back on it? I mean, it seems like you were pretty happy with the decision and kind of pushing yourself
Oh,
to make that jump.
no, no, really, really happy. I was kind of, of course, when you go into a big team like that, I was a little lost the first couple of weeks.
Hmm.
So, but a little while I was in it. I had a lot of experience, but totally different team, totally different setup. So I learned a lot from the coaches, but mostly for all different athletes,
Hmm.
different way of skiing, different way of thinking, learning to get to know the skiers I work with, which takes some time. But
Hmm.
everyone's really open hearted and so on, and helped really to get into the system over there.
Hmm. And you had, I mean, amazing success while you're there. I mean, Brian, obviously, I mean, 2010 Olympics with three medals there was that had to be quite the fun
Yeah,
Vancouver Games.
oh, it's an unbelievably good feeling. You never know. It feels so easy when you get the medals there, but have 3 out of 6 medals and moguls and
Mhm.
going home for the team. Ah, such a good feeling. Really good. No, no, that's. uh, it's, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed more seeing the athlete I work with doing good than I did when I won my World Cup. But to have the athletes see how happy they are there, and how happy they are, how the team spirit is, that means so much more to me.
Hmm. That's really, I mean, especially here, you kind of say that, right? As an athlete or whatever else, like the experience you get of winning a World Cup, you say it doesn't even compare to seeing somebody else kind of receive those awards. It kind of speaks to who you are as a coach.
Yeah, and also this that okay. The good thing is to see. Okay, of course, the winner or medalist uh, are really happy, but the whole team, the whole organization is so different. Everybody's involved is so happy, so nice. Just going back to the federation in
Hmm.
Park City to meet everybody. I mean, we've been good, doing good. Such a good team feeling. I like the team feeling. A good team feeling. It means a lot to me.
Hmm. And have you, so as you moved on later, like in Sweden, have you tried to carry some of those things that you learned from the US, kind of that team environment, and because it seems like, Team Sweden seems very, very kind of tight knit, and it seems like they all get along pretty well, and it seems like that atmosphere is pretty great.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I kind of took what I knew from US for a lot of things like strength conditioning and so on, and skiing, and then different setup.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of beginning, they told me that's not going to work in Sweden. I said, I'm pretty sure it will. And some coaches agree with me. So my biggest thing is to get the group focused on the same things, like
Mm,
and work together. Before I came, I felt they all over the place. It took a little while, but came in pretty good, pretty fast with a good team. And like I said before, really, really good team spirit.
mm-hmm.
All working together, and that took, I say, it took 4 years. The first Olympics we went to wasn't too good,
Mm-hmm.
and was also a very young team. Like Walter was 17 and so on, so it was
Right,
like a tryout game for him. And
right.
after that, the group got better and better together, and then 22 was good in Olympics, and after Olympics, really good World Cup years on the men's side. We have some more to do here on the women's side, but it's happening now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, you get to see the growth throughout those years and all that kind of effort and everything put in. I mean, as you talked about, you have some of those the camps that you do in the spring, and you've really kind of created some of that culture to build up. And do you feel like the pipeline now? I mean, some of those kids obviously can look to Walter or Philip or Rasmus or and be able to see the potential and those guys being able to work down. I mean, it seems like the pipeline's pretty healthy on the men's side, and then as you say, like on the women's side, I mean, you guys just swept both men's and women's at Junior World Championships. Got the gold in both, and it seems like the future is kind of bright there in Sweden.
It's coming up pretty good,
Hmm.
way better than I thought because it's really hard to keep it going.
Hmm.
One thing that's really interesting, the first time I did my spring camps, I done it always, but they call it my talent camps, so to say.
Hmm.
First time I did it was we got, we stayed a little bit after the World Cup here in 2013, I think, here with the
Hmm.
US team. So
Hmm.
I asked the US team if they could come and coach the local kids.
Yeah.
So I took the whole US team, and I think like 70 kids showed up or something. That's the start of the whole thing. That's when I got the idea. Oh, I should better get some good athletes here and coach the young ones. So first time I did this was with the help of the US team. Uh, and this is Walter was with. Walter was 13 years old.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I
Uh,
think I remember Brad and Brian sticking around and doing some of those guys. I definitely remember
yeah.
Brad.
So
He
after
would go a
this,
bunch of
when I
years.
was after still after this, when I was still in US, was my last year in US. He asked me if I can come and do this camp, and I said I'm coming if I can bring one of our athletes.
Hmm.
So I brought Brad with me. So it was me and Brad
Hmm.
on our own. I thought it's going to be like few kids. Again, with 70 kids. And I said to Brad, what the heck's we going to do? So we had to do rapid fire with some help from the parents. And from there on, next time, Kingsbury came here and worked.
Oh, very cool.
So Brad and Kingsbury, Eliza Outram, Heather McPhee was also here 1 year.
Okay.
Some other Canadians. And they came here and helped the skiers. So that's pretty funny that Kingsbury helped coaching Walter.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so he inspired Walter, came here and coached Walter. Walter paid back with taking a gold in 22.
In
No,
22, yeah.
that, that's the thing is the spirit of freestyle and mogul skiing is that it's the same all over the world. There's so many helpful skiers around the world that want to help the rest of the world. And they came here and got the Swedish team started. So I think a big thank you to all these athletes from US and Canada that came here and helped me with the camps.
That's really cool and very
Yeah,
special, to be inspiring and keeping those next generations going. That's for sure.
yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about 2022 with Walter and that Olympic experience because didn't you got COVID, right?
Yeah. I've been sick. I've been around for 45 years. The only time I've been sick before I knew, but you don't have to stay home.
Right.
But now because all the strict rules in China, wasn't that sick,
Uh-huh.
but I couldn't go. So
Hmm.
I watched the games. Walter called me a little bit now and then we were on. Europa Cup with the rest of the team
Okay.
up in northern Sweden, north of Åre. And we're all watching the games or Valtis runs on the TV in the hotel we stayed.
Hmm.
That's probably one of my best, and the best I've been feeling ever. Such emotional ride like with Walter, because I met Walter when I was still 13 years.
Hmm.
And I used to take help, I picked him up at school. I went to the local burger place, bought some food for him so he can go and walk the ramps. So he's a skier I met the youngest that's kept on winning medals. So
Very
that
cool.
was very emotional. I was really happy, such a good feeling.
Yeah,
And
that's crazy.
that meant so much for our sport here. It's like exploding, not exploding. For being here in Sweden, it's big, and there's a lot of good skiers. We're not that many as in US or Canada, but we have a lot of good skiers coming up.
Hmm. No, that's really special, especially to know that journey from such a young age and kind of see the success and how he's kind of carried himself and carried, the flag for Sweden and the nation and everything else, and how it's helped with the growth of the sport there. Now, just one thing I was just kind of curious about, what would be, because you talk about all the highlights and all the successes and everything else, but what are some of those failures, or would you say setbacks, that you would say later on helped get some of those successes, where you had, feel like you always learn more from the failures than you do the successes, unfortunately, as that may be. What are kind of some of those over the years of coaching?
I think my biggest mistake is, like I said when we started, is that you coach your team
Hmm.
the way you kind of coach yourself, how you thought yourself you should be. And it doesn't work, and they get really, really disappointed for a while. So, and in the beginning, I was not a very good listener.
Hmm.
So that's my biggest mistakes. And also, knew I wasn't very good to talk to people and
Hmm.
so on. And I was coaching them for 5 years. The fifth year, I had a pretty good results. Like I had four skiers top 12 on the men's side in the Olympics.
Hmm.
But I think they had enough for me, because, and I did some mistakes, like a team nomination, everything. I wasn't very good to talk to them. I think
Hmm.
that's my biggest. And when I look back to it, they're still here in Ori. That's local kids that used to ski with me when they were younger. All of a sudden, I was their coach.
Hmm.
And so that's I learned in a hard way. I was doing wrong. It wasn't very good for those athletes. But I think they learned something too, though. But I think that's my biggest problem. And it's mostly my biggest mistake is more like how you talk to athletes.
Hmm.
So I feel I've been okay, to see what they're doing and so on, but it take a while to get to know how you talk to different athletes because they're all totally different personalities
Right.
and need to understand when they have problems and so on, Uh, and especially in Norway, because that's especially the girls they were the best there.
Hmm.
And they're pretty open-hearted. They told me everything. I said, Kari and the other girls in Norway is my best coaches ever. How to understand how you as an athlete react,
Hmm.
boyfriends, everything. They open books, and they helped me a lot
Hmm.
to understand. There were situations I said, like, oh my God, what you gonna do? I have no clue what to tell them. So I just I made something up, but it wasn't true probably, but it sounded good, to get things going and so on. Uh, no, I tried to learn from when our athletes are hurt,
Hmm.
like hurt. I was in a feeling way, not hurt in the injuries or anything, but they're
Right.
hurting. I think it's really, really important that you understand what's going on outside the
Right.
skiing to get them in. For a lot of problems to have is they're taking the problems up on the hill. And sometimes understand why they can have a bad day or why it doesn't work with coach training and so on. I've done a lot of mistakes. I don't remember everything. I'm just more or less remember when they tell me things and I learn from it. And it needs to have athletes that are really open. And I try to say, and I normally say, that it's really important that get to know the athlete by heart.
Hmm.
But even more important that the athlete got to know me by heart and understand me and trust me,
Hmm.
that they can talk to me. It doesn't always work, but I've learned quite a lot, I think, through the years. I'm still not good enough, but it's getting better. But I think that's so important that you need to be open, you need to understand, and
Hmm.
that athletes are so different. You can't just treat everybody the same kind of,
Right.
especially when you have top athletes. That's, less, just a little difference can makes such a big difference
Yeah, make a
that you
big
have some
difference.
problem. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, and also the other way around is like, you don't need to say much to get it good because they know how to ski. They
Right.
just, it can be easy as say like put them in another focus on the hill, like how they look into the course and the start. All of a
Hmm.
sudden they ski good and you didn't do anything, but you put them in a position that they believe in it. I think that's
Mm.
really important.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's I mean, it's one of the things that I love about coaching as well is that, you got to have more than one arrow in the quiver because it's not a one size fits all for each athlete, right? They have their own different personality, and as you say, they have different things going on behind the scenes in their own lives and traveling around the world, whether there's stuff going on back home with their family or whatever else. And seems like you really take the time to kind of do your best to be able to build that trust with the athletes, right? That's not really something that I mean, it's earned, right? You have to earn that trust from them and them to really believe and have faith that you're authentic. And I know in the documentary, The Man Behind the Medal, you really talked about allowing it to come from your heart, right?
Yes, and it's like, and I have a lot of feelings into my sport. I'm
Hmm.
pretty emotional. I don't show so much of what I am, and especially if I get an athlete that I can't get going, so to say, like to feel good. Excuse me, I really
Hmm.
need to work on it, and still a long way to go. I have some more years to learn,
Hmm.
but I feel it's been pretty good 3 years. You don't reach everybody, but most of them.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, it's really special and amazing that you're still trying to learn, still trying to get better, especially at this point in time in your illustrious coaching career and everything else. And I mean, it was really interesting, and I really enjoyed the documentary that Ludwig had on you. It was interesting to see how much just in Sweden, you've touched all the athletes there, and how much. Your caring and support for them and belief in them, they really comes through very very strong. And same thing when we were in Japan, and you got a little farewell video there, and all those different athletes that came in. Hannah, Shannon, Brian, just kind of how much you've meant to them. And I'm sure there's a laundry list of athletes that you've helped or help them get a little bit better, not necessarily on the hill, but just in life, right? I mean, most of these athletic careers are fairly short, but life is long.
Yeah, I've been around a lot of good athletes, and
Hmm.
I'm happy that I've been able, given the chance to coach all these good skiers. It's been a good trip with different teams.
Hmm. No, absolutely. So what would you say were, because you've had so many different nations that you've coached for, and I imagine the challenges in those had to kind of be different in each of those spots that you've been to. I mean, as you say, we touched a little bit on like with the US and some of the challenges there. Like what else would you say are some of those things as you kind of look back on that the difficulties of whether it's just the language barrier or some of those different things?
Yeah, the biggest problem in US was that I was speaking Swedish to them sometimes when I came from Sweden. That didn't turn out very good. And they look at me, I said, why are they looking at me like that? Like I'm crazy. I said, Lasse, you're speaking Swedish to me. So no, I don't think of course there's some misunderstandings, like,
Right.
and I don't know enough English to say it perfect, so to say, like it's,
Right.
and I have a little Scandinavian accent and so on. And sometimes it's hard in US, like to get people to understand you. But even in something coming back to Sweden here, I would think that coming back to Sweden was the hardest
Really?
because, yeah, in a way, because expectations was pretty high because I'd done good in a bunch of different teams before and coming back here.
Hmm.
And the results didn't come the first 4 years. They started coming later.
Hmm.
That was the hardest part to get into the system here. Like I said, I tried to change a few things they didn't really like in the beginning, but in the end, it turned out to be pretty good. So I got the coaches and everybody with me.
Hmm.
That's also why they hired me. They wanted some changes here. So
Hmm.
they said, so they They asked me to come. I think they tricked me. They didn't tell the whole true story. But I came. Also, like I felt after, like when you were been for a team like in US for 2 Olympics,
Mhm.
I feel after normally you should leave after 2 Olympics, maybe 3. But I think you're done as a coach. Then you know have nothing to say really. You could take a step back and help the other coaches,
Mhm.
but you need somebody else in the front. You know.
Right. Different.
So I don't think I've had so much problems. Like it's more like how do you start all over again? That's the kind of way it is when you change teams.
Hmm.
What can I bring from the other team and on? You need to understand, you learn it. Maybe you can't bring everything that worked in US here in Sweden,
Hmm.
but most of it works here too. Just took me time to get to them for them to get used to it.
Hmm.
And bit by bit, follow me, you know, and then as you start to believe in what you're doing, and you bring in other coaches that's doing the same thing, it's been pretty good. So I don't think I felt it's been too hard as I remember. Like I'm learning from my what's hard so on.
Yeah. Well, so how difficult would you say this? I mean, because the one thing you can never really plan on or expect, they're going to happen at some point would just be, I mean, the injuries. And that was one of the things just from the outside perspective. I mean, it was tough to watch because, I mean, you've had such talented teams over the last couple of years, and it seemed like the injury bug kind of bit you guys this year. And from the outside, it was really tough to watch because, I mean, they've had such great results over the season and everything else, and that seemed to really just be difficult.
Yeah, that was really really tough. You know that we have on the men's side 6 A-team skiers.
Hmm.
All 6 had good enough results to go to the Olympics. Okay, you can just bring 4, but there's 6.
Hmm.
So normally, if everybody been staying healthy, we had to take away 2
Hmm.
that couldn't ski. But now we ended up like only 1 was healthy all the way through. And the hardest was like Philip that got injured like 4 days on the training camp. He crashed not very big and he hurt his collarbone, you know. He's
Hmm.
back now. He won the Swedish championship, but it's months off. That was the worst, you know.
Yeah.
Now, like when you lose 5 out of 6, and after that, we have good skiers, but they're not ready to ski the Olympics.
Right.
Not even close to it on the men's side.
Hmm.
So no, that was a tough one to lose so many good skiers. And even Walter skied it. He's been injured and injured, hasn't really been able to ski. It's amazing he's still a top skier
Hmm.
after he has taken his kind of nursing his own body to make sure he can ski.
Right.
No, it's a very good team. They're on their way back now, so it's going to be good next year and even better in the next 4 years.
In the
Yeah,
future.
yeah,
No, the future, like I said, future seems very bright, especially both of those junior world golds and the men's team's deep and women's team seems like you guys have a lot of good things rolling. And I know this is you're finished with full on travel, but I know you still want to be in the sport that you love and still be attached to it and coaching and helping out in some capacity.
yeah. So like, I'm not done yet, and I would like to take my experience. You know, will
Hmm.
just help any clubs from
Hmm.
all over the world if they come to Sweden and ski, or if there's some other things, summer camps and so on.
Hmm.
Like if somebody wants my help, I'm here, and I still want to be in the sport. I'm not going to leave the sport, and I'm probably going to go to the Worlds and Olympics in the future. Maybe
Hmm.
just to watch, but I got to be around. This is what I've been doing most of my life, and I still love it. It's such a nice way to spend your time.
Yeah. Well, the sport loves you, and the sport needs you in it. So that's good. That's very good to hear. And I really appreciate you taking the time and coming on and getting to have this chat and talk about your illustrious career. Thank you for all that you've done for the sport and you continue to do for the sport. You've formed my career and my pathway, and I'm now on this journey in freestyle, and a lot of that's because of you. So I really have to say thank you for coming on and thank you for guiding.
Yeah, and thanks for having me. It's good to talk to you.